What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. So the IRS made some mistakes. They actually admitted it. Had a feeling that they were going to have to confess at some point in time, but it's pretty cool that they actually did admit that the IRS made some mistakes. We're going to talk about that in today's video. If you are stopping by the channel for the very first time, please consider subscribing to the channel. And while you guys are at it, go ahead and smash that like button. I really would appreciate that. Well, folks, it's a new year and it's a new day. If you're breathing today, go ahead and, appreciate the Most High. And there's some key things that I want to share with you guys in today's video. And one of the most popular goals for this year that I've seen so far is that most people want to make more money and most people want to save more money. And we're going to talk about that as well in today's video. We've gotten several folks from all walks of life, fixed income, Social Security, SSI, SSDI. As a matter of fact, you guys received a letter recently. I hope you guys have gotten your checks, and I'm starting to see some of those increases already. But there are some additional surprises that are coming out for Social Security recipients, SSI, SSDI. You guys have probably seen some of my recent videos on that. The Biden administration is actually making some major changes as well. And in this reset that we're embarking upon, some people will likely do significantly better during this time. Now, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been raising interest rates to combat inflation. We are seeing more and more reports coming out from economists that are now expecting and planning for a recession. And a lot of people will likely be caught off guard by this. And this is why we've been speaking more and more about this in videos. Reason being is because it's going to become very likely, it's going to become a reality for some folks. And so rather than allowing this reality to just kind of hit us in the face, it's kind of like, okay, if we know this thing is coming, how do we prepare? How do we prep for something that is going to be likely to be wiping out a lot of jobs, creating waves and waves of layoffs? Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan, he's already indicated that actually not the CEO, but an analyst over at Bank of America had indicated that they're expecting somewhere around 175,000 jobs to be lost over the next several months. So, and this $175,000 jobs being lost per month is a pattern that is going to be expected to repeat itself for a good year. Basically, nearly 2 million jobs is expected to be lost. So if you think you're going to be in that bucket, you need to prepare yourself now. Fixed income recipients. When I say fixed income, technically, if you think about it, Social Security is not really fixed income because there's a COLA increase. And so that COLA does increase the income of a Social Security recipient. But when I say it's fixed income, realistically, it's like the same paycheck. It's the same size check month after month after month. So by and large, it's pretty much fixed. And it's out of your control in terms of how much you're going to make, except for, how much money you made over the years, how much you paid into the system, and of course, the age at which you decided to start collecting the Social Security checks. So, but outside of those factors, it's kind of fixed. Now, got a lot of messages from folks talking about they want to make more money, and I want to help you guys to achieve your goals. But there's a good 3 things that you need to be doing in order to make that goal a reality. A mentor of mine once told me that the difference between a goal and a dream, the difference between a goal and a dream is basically the actions that are taken. If you have a dream, you're not really taking any actions. But if you have a goal, you're creating a plan and you're executing, you're taking those steps. So first and foremost, Whether you're preparing for a recession or not, first and foremost, make sure you secure your income. Your income is your number one greatest wealth building tool, period, and bar none. So you have to make sure that you protect your income. When I say protect your income, I'm talking about making sure that you retain your employment. If you're a small business owner, make sure you're taking care of your customers. A lot of these companies nowadays, they're getting lazy, they're getting comfortable. Are they taking care of their customers? I don't think so. And when you take care of your customers, we're also talking about taking care of your employees. Your employee can also be your customer, and your employee is one of your greatest advocates for the company. So if you're not taking care of your employees, you're not taking care of your customer, because chances are a dissatisfied employee is probably going to be reflecting their dissatisfaction in front of the customer. So, and I'm talking about, even if you're a small business owner, small cap, middle cap, large cap company, you got to take care of your employees. And of course, your Fortune 500, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones companies, they need to be taking care of their employees. Otherwise, it's going to reflect in the profit margins and in the balance sheets of the company. Now, beyond protecting your income and making sure you don't get laid off, we need to be focusing on increasing our incomes. Now, thankfully, there's a number of ways to increase your income. You can increase your income at your job. You can increase your income through changing jobs. You can increase your income through acquiring certifications, getting additional education. And it doesn't necessarily have to take 2, 3, 4 years to do this. There are lots of resources available that would allow you to potentially increase your income in a matter of weeks. And if you guys are interested in some of those strategies that I've uncovered over the years, definitely hit me up in the comments down below. But there are lots of ways to increase your income at the job that you already work at within a matter of weeks. And we've talked about this previously on previous videos. Those videos didn't get as much views on them, so you may not have seen or heard me talk about that, but we did cover it on previous videos if you want to click back and check those out. Now, the reason your income is so important is because your income is your single biggest wealth building tool. Okay? So the bigger your income, the faster you can, number one, get out of debt. Americans with debt right now are getting just destroyed by the Fed's increasing of federal interest rates. And any type of credit card debt, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, American Express are the biggest mainstream credit cards, period, and bar none. And the average family is carrying credit card debt as high as $9,000 in credit card debt at a rate of as high as 30% interest. How do you build wealth? How do you build wealth when you're paying 30% interest? We are also seeing a growing number of car payment values. Some people are paying $1,000 a month in car payments. So you got to get control over your debt. And if you're 100% debt free, if you've been following Dave Ramsey's plan and you're on baby step 5, 6, or 7, congratulations. You're doing very, very well, especially in this economy. In this economy, if you're carrying high interest debt and that debt's not generating profits for you, if you're not in a situation where your debt is actually making you money, that debt could potentially wipe you out. And so we talk about, over in the Patreon community, we talk about the different strategies that could be implemented, taking liabilities and converting those liabilities into assets. And this is a strategy that the rich have been using that the poor have not been aware of. And I wish I knew about these strategies earlier in life, but now that I do know about them, I'm sharing them. Now, you got to create a budget. This is number 2. You got to create a budget. So the budget is going to determine how much of your income will be freed up so that you can have your money work for you. Got to figure that out. You got to calculate your budget. If you guys don't know how to create a budget, budgets are very, very simple. You don't need to overcomplicate things, but this is the greatest way to be able to build wealth. How can you invest in the stock market? How can you invest in real estate? How can you build a small business without a budget? Even the largest companies. Look at Amazon. Look at we've seen Amazon on the stock market. Amazon shares are down right now. Apple stock shares are down right now. Netflix stock shares are down right now. Hulu stock shares are down right now. Facebook, Meta, all of these stocks shares are down right now. But are these good companies? I think that these are good companies. I think that they're good companies, and I'm buying great companies like these, but I'm also buying companies that pay me on a regular basis. I'm talking about dividend stock companies that pay on a regular basis. Some of these dividend stocks that I've found pay on a monthly basis. Talk about creating passive income in one of the simplest ways. You could literally start creating passive income in less than 24 hours. But budgeting is nothing more than figuring out how much income you take in and adding up that number. That number might be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. You might be making $30,000 a month. I don't know how much money you make per month between you and your spouse, but just figure out what that number is. Then you add up all of the bills and expenses you have for your household. Mortgage payments, rent payments, utility bills, gas, your water bill, cell phones, insurance, car insurance, cell phone insurance, house insurance if your homeowner's insurance is not attached to your mortgage payment, all of your expenses, how much you spend for gas, food, entertainment, add all of those up. Those are all of your expenses. So you take your total income, subtract all your expenses, and this is what you have left. Now, a lot of people are going to be pretty close. Your income is going to be pretty close to your expenses. And this is a problem. And you want to widen the gap between your income and your expenses. Income needs to overshadow those expenses. And the bigger that gap you can create, the faster you're going to be able to build wealth. And these are the kind of conversations that we're having on a regular basis. But on top of that, the goal isn't to just save money. Saving money will not make you wealthy. Saving money will not make you rich, but it is a needed habit that needs to be built, and it needs to be built early. That way, the more money you make, you already have the habit in place. You've already heard, lots of people, Mike Tyson, among many others who made, millions of dollars, lived a very lavish lifestyle, blew it all, and now they're broke. So one of the biggest problems is that they didn't build these strategies and habits early. Now, the other thing is that you want to create this surplus of money left over. This, most people say, is how much they can save every month. But saving every month really does not make you rich. It is taking that money that is saved and then putting that money to work. And you do this by converting this money into assets that throw off cash every single month or every single year or every so often. Some assets you can purchase pay you weekly. And there's a number of different things that could be invested to make this money work for you. Stocks, real estate, businesses, side hustles. There's a lot of different platforms that will allow you to list items that can be rented, right? So imagine you have a number of different items such as vehicles or items around your house. You'd be surprised what people are willing or what people are needing to rent. There's a lot of different items. And this is like needing to think outside the box. A lot of people don't realize there's so many items in your house, even space inside of your house that people will rent. And when you figure out what you own that you could rent, This is a way to generate passive income because these are things you already have and you're just technically allowing someone to use it. I actually came across this website where they would actually pay people to allow them to film parts of their house. They need to just rent a space and they need your space and they're willing to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars just to rent your space. Very, very interesting website that I found. I'll probably share that with you guys in the description of this video down below if I can remember that. Excuse me about that. So IRS has admitted that they have sent 12 million tax refunds, averaging $1,232 a pop after fixing their 2020 tax filings. Now, this is a big deal. I knew the IRS was behind. We've talked about this before. IRS was behind, and they were warning people that there were going to be significant delays. Well, IRS said that they recently finished correcting their tax returns filed for 2020, and that included overpayments for unemployment benefits that workers received that year. And then it had issued 12 million tax refunds as a result. Now, this is actually very good news for a lot of people. Cash checks coming your way always puts a smile on most people's faces. Now, the average tax refund is $1,232, with the IRS sending a total amount of payments worth $14.8 billion back to the taxpayers. And taxpayers were sent letters from the IRS. Do I have my letter? I'm gonna see if I can find my letter. I don't know what I did with my letter, but the IRS said that they had sent letters to inform taxpayers about the fixes to their 2020 tax filings. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys if you guys got one of those letters, or more importantly, if you actually got a check from the IRS. Now, this tax review, it came about due to Americans. You guys remember when the third stimulus check went out? This was sent out because Congress, the House of Representatives, the Senate, and President Biden, they all signed off on this American Rescue Plan back in 2021. And this legislation excluded up to $10,200 in 2020 unemployment aid from being counted as taxable income. But some taxpayers had already filed their tax returns in early 2021 before this law became effective. Now, because of that, the IRS reviewed these tax returns, which were filed by workers who reported jobless aid as income in 2020, but who had filed their forms before the law was enacted. So it wasn't the fault of the taxpayer. Some taxpayers received refunds while others had the overpayment applied to their taxes due to other debts. And in some cases, the exclusion, it only resulted in a reduction in their adjusted gross income. So basically about 14 million tax returns were corrected, but the IRS issued refunds for 12 million of those filings. Individuals and married couples whose adjusted gross income was below $150,000 a year was eligible for some unemployment aid untaxed. Now, of course, I am not a tax advisor, never claimed to be. Always seek the advice, wisdom, and counsel of your tax advisors, your CPAs, whoever does your taxes. Like I said, I'm not a tax advisor and I'm not a financial advisor. So some taxpayers have actually been waiting for more than a year to get the refunds. And I had read that the IRS pays interest on delays, that, any kind of money that they owe you. So I'm really interested to know if the IRS is actually going to pay these people for the interest for this delay in providing them their money back. So basically, this one guy, he indicated that he believes he owed almost $2,600 to the IRS. But after the relief on paying taxes for jobless aid was calculated, he actually he actually got a refund of more than $1,000. So he went from owing $2,600 to, once the IRS made these corrections, instead of him owing $2,600, he ended up getting a refund check of $1,000. So I don't know, if that was me, I would be so happy if that happened. So we're going to see more and more of these situations happening. And, according to the IRS, they have indicated that they've now finished those corrections. And although it, added that taxpayers who are eligible for the exclusion and who haven't gotten a correction from the IRS, they need to file an amendment 2020 tax return to be able to claim their refunds. So I definitely hope that this information is helpful to you. And I definitely hope that you begin to implement some of these strategies, especially going into 2023, so that you and your family prosper and don't get wiped out, irrespective of what the Fed's plans are with interest rates. So I do hope that you guys found value in this video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you made it this far, drop a like for the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Be safe.